basketball's boy wonder.
This kid was never going to be a role player. He was going to be a star.
That's the way you run a fast break.
Youngest ever to play in the NBA.
What would you do if you're a father and your kid comes up to you and says, I can go to college for 4 years, or I can go make $3 or $4 million this next year?
Kobe Bryant gets up off the bench. Here he comes. He's into it. Put the shirt tail in, son.
Now a boy in a man's world.
Guys go to strip clubs. I don't go to strip club for what?
Bryant with a three.
Here to play basketball, man.
A loner who kept his private life secret.
He enjoys his privacy, and his privacy vanishes as soon as he steps out of his room.
The high school kid from Italy who tried to take on the entire league all by himself.
There were times when I just would shake my head. You know, this kid needs to calm his game down. He needs to learn how to use everybody else.
I don't think it's a selfishness. I think it's just he just feels like he's invincible out there on the court and he can't be stopped.
That got the people up out their seats.
He has so much ability that he feels like nobody can stop him and he can do anything.
Come on, put down the show. You got everybody in here going crazy.
Finally, they brought in a guy who knew how to win.
He took shots with guys hanging on him with teammates wide open. So I had to question his vision. Does he see? Does he know these guys were open?
And the boy wonder began to grow up.
That's a beautiful 17-foot jumper. A nice shot by Kobe.
And I could just see it in his face. Look, I just want to win. I just want to win.
He might be the best total player in the game.
This is Kobe Bryant.
I'm not sure I've ever seen that move before.
Beyond the glory.
Absolutely outstanding. Unbelievable. There's as good as any bet on baseball.
Do you have anything to say to your fans?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Staples Center.
June 2000.
Center of the world.
The Western Conference Finals saw the LA Lakers pitted against perennial rival, the Portland Trail Blazers. The Lakers had led 3-1 in the series, but then Portland came back, winning the next two and forcing a Game 7. In the fourth quarter, the Lakers were down by 15 points.
That was the moment I used to dream about when I was a kid. Being in those type of situations, being in the NBA Finals, being on the road, being put in a position when your back's up against the wall. You know, and everybody thinks that you're going to lose the game.
Each of the three previous seasons had seen the Lakers knocked off in the playoffs, twice by Utah, and then in 1999 by the San Antonio Spurs. Now it appeared the Lakers were just minutes away from another frustrated offseason.
And Pippen pulls up for three. And Portland's off to a great start.
But then, midway through the fourth quarter, Kobe Bryant got hot.
Kobe. It's Kobe Bryant's three. It's Kobe again.
And suddenly, it was showtime 2, the sequel.
Bryant.
Portland was finished.
From the brink of elimination to the brink of the NBA Finals.
And 6 games later,
Reggie turns.
so were the Indiana Pacers.
Are the 2000 NBA.
Just 4 years had passed since 17-year-old Kobe Bryant had sprung out of high school and straight into the NBA. Now he and the Lakers were world champions. But Kobe remained an enigma to his teammates. They wondered, who did this kid, Kobe Bryant, think he was?
Our conflict, since basically day one, has been how much you want to do on your own and how much are you going to do in the team offense.
But it was not so much who Kobe was as who Kobe was determined to be, the best player ever to play the game.
When my father's playing on TV, I would have a little setup, a little hoop in the living room, and I'll play. You know, while he's playing. Then when they take a timeout, then I sit down and I take my little timeout. I remember putting on a little jersey, like one of those little white tank tops. My mom used to help me. She used to scribble my dad's number on there.
Kobe Bryant's earliest memories are of basketball.
It was just there when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I just wanted to do it. Just wanted to play.
Bryant gets around short, down the middle, scoop shot on the way, falls in.
Kobe's dad, Joe Jelly Bean Bryant, played 8 years in the NBA, first for the 76ers, and then San Diego and Houston. When Kobe was 6, Joe signed a deal to play in the Italian League. For the next 7 years, the Bryants lived in Italy.
The lifestyle and the culture was pretty easy to adapt to. But the language, man, I think it was like the first day I got into a fight with this kid because he said, nero. Like, guarda, nero, nero. Which means, look, black. Now, I guess he's never seen a black person before. And I thought he said, look, you know something else, look, nigga. And that guy and I wound up becoming best of friends my first couple years in Italy. So.
Kobe soon began to learn Italian and came to speak it fluently.
I speak not so bad like I speak English, but I speak really well. I speak Italian normally, like if it was his language.
When Kobe was 7, he got his first leather basketball. It became his constant companion. He even slept with it. But finding a game was tough, unless the game was soccer.
13 guys would show up and come down to the court ready to play soccer because they would have the soccer posts right underneath the basket. So I would just stay there and play. Then when they were finished, I started playing basketball again.
Joe and Kobe kept tabs on their favorite NBA teams by watching videotapes. Kobe studied these by the hour, trying to memorize the moves of his favorite players.
Magic. He was the top one. When Michael was coming up, I didn't like him too much, but I was a Magic fan.
Kobe hung out with Joe's Italian League teams. It was like a correspondence school in basketball.
Every time the players stopped their training, Kobe would immediately jump on the basketball court. He would get the ball that he always had in his hands and would start shooting. At the end of every game here in Pistoia, I remember that Kobe, going on court, would steal the ball from the last player that had it in his hands, because he wanted to practice his shots. The audience would sometimes stay longer only to watch him, a 12-year-old boy shooting at a basket.
In campo.
On the basketball court, his personality was very strong. For example, he rarely passed the ball to the other players, but he usually made the basket, so he had a good reason not to give the ball away.
In 1991, Joe Bryant retired from basketball and brought his family home to Philadelphia. That November, while scanning the sports section, Kobe was surprised to see Magic missing from the Laker lineup.
The next morning, my mother comes in and tells me he's HIV positive. I was like, dang. What does that mean? Can he play? Is he going to be all right? And so she had to explain everything to me. And that broke my heart.
Because of the HIV virus that I have attained, I will have to retire from the Lakers.
Magic's retirement spelled the end for Lakers Showtime. It would be 9 years before a kid from Italy would help bring it back. In 1991, Joe Bryant brought his family back from Italy to live in Philadelphia, where he'd once played with the Sixers. His son Kobe had spent the last 7 years of his life as an outsider in a foreign land. Now he found himself a stranger in his hometown.
Most of the time, I didn't understand what people were talking about because he used to speak slang all the time. Like, we go home, I say, what does it mean when somebody says, yo, why you sweating me? What the hell is he talking about? What does he mean by that?
But when it came to Kobe's basketball talent, nothing was lost in the translation.
Basketball is universal. No matter what you spoke, if you can go out there and play, it just didn't matter. You know what I mean? You was going to fit in no matter what.
There was a big buzz in the town about a 13-year-old who was playing at our middle school. And after 5 minutes, I turned to my assistant coaches and said, this kid's a pro.
Philadelphia is a big basketball city. There were a bunch of guys my age who already had an established reputation of being the top players. So I had to come in and prove myself to them.
Given Kobe's game, he had no trouble proving himself. But making friends was another story.
He was popular from afar and likable, but he's very guarded. He's very careful with who he lets in.
He played ball. The ball was his best friend. Weekend nights when he was younger, he didn't go to parties or hang out. He played ball.
He'd be like a senior in high school playing in a middle school. Nobody could touch him. Nobody could stop him.
In the fall of 1992, Kobe started at Lower Merion High School. He was 6'2" and the finest prospect his coaches had ever seen.
We heard there was a former ball player's son coming in. Supposedly he was a pretty decent, flashy player. And there was this tall, skinny kid, around 6'4", 87 pounds, it seemed. He was wearing his father's Italian uniform, stuff with Le Coq Sportif on his shirt and whatnot. And it was awkward, but as soon as he stepped on the court, you knew what he was all about.
One thing that made it almost easy to coach Kobe, and I think maybe instantaneously gain the respect of his teammates, was his work ethic.
He would practice more than anybody else that I ever saw at high school. I'd come into the facility early in the morning, 5:45 or so, and I'd hear the thumping of the basketball. I went upstairs, and there was Kobe doing drills.
I would stay late after practice, and I would work on a particular aspect of my game. Then we go out into the game, I would see it paying off. And that was the most important thing to me. Because you can spend hours working in the game, but if you don't have the confidence and those skills to execute them during the game, then they mean nothing.
Lower Merion High's basketball team had been nothing to shout about for half a century. But now, with a new kid from Italy, the team started to draw.
It started off, we were playing in front of maybe 100 people, our parents, maybe a few of our friends and this and that. And as he got older and as we got better, the crowd started to fill up.
We went from having 200 or 300 people at a boys basketball game to having 1,500, and it became fever pitch.
We won 20 games when he was a sophomore. You would look at Kobe as an opposing coach when he was in 10th grade and say, oh my God, I've got to deal with this for 2 more years.
In Kobe's junior year, Lower Merion went to the state tournament but lost in the second round. The loss left Kobe devastated, but determined.
One thing I'll never forget Kobe saying was, I'm not allowing this to happen again.
So it's almost comical to hear him say this. So we were kind of just like, Kobe, relax, it's not your fault, all that. But he took it personally and said that he'd win the title the next year.
The next year, Kobe kept his promise. Lower Merion went all the way, winning the Pennsylvania State Championship for the first time in 53 years. Kobe was named All-American High School Player of the Year. That spring, Kobe, by now a celebrity himself, escorted the pop singer Brandy to his high school prom.
Well, I just bumped into it. I didn't have a date for the prom. I just asked her to go.
One of Kobe's classmates was the daughter of John Lucas, then coach of the Philadelphia 76ers. Lucas had seen Kobe play and invited him to work out with the Sixers during the offseason.
The big buzz at the time was that he was just ripping up Jerry Stackhouse in one-on-one. Possibly at that time was the first seed that was planted that maybe college was not going to be a part of his future.
I like LaSalle, North Carolina, Duke, Michigan. Those are my top schools right now. I am considering the NBA.
Kobe was heavily recruited by all the top basketball schools, but his goal and lifelong dream was to play in the NBA, and he wanted it now.
I have decided to skip college and take my talent to the NBA.
We're flabbergasted at his decision. How can he say he's going to do this? He came across looking a bit arrogant. He came across looking naive.
You're my idol. Remember me when you're in the NBA.
But Kobe had his own agenda, and he didn't care what anybody thought.
he was getting smeared all over this town, and so was Joe. So it was a difficult time, but Kobe had a dream.
What would you do if you're a father and your kid comes up to you and says, I can go to college for 4 years, or I can go make $3 or $4 million this next year?
Did you say to him he has to get a college education at some point in his life?
Oh, that's part of the deal. I mean, that's automatic.
He had all the attributes where he could have gone to college and would have survived very well in college and done well in the college game and had plenty of time to come to the NBA and play. But he was anxious to be here where the game was the best.
When people knew that I was contemplating going straight to the NBA, the Wolves came out immediately.
I have decided to skip college and take my talent to the NBA.
When Kobe Bryant announced in 1996 that he was skipping college and going straight to the NBA, he was bombarded by a hailstorm of controversy.
I saw it on the local news, and I just remember thinking, what's with those goofy glasses on his head? Who does this guy think he is? It was pretty wacky to think that here's some kid you went to high school with who's going to the pros.
It was all over the place. It was in the newspapers, it was on radio talk shows. Should he do this? Should he do that? Education first, you know, sports this. He's not ready. You know, parents are messing up. They didn't raise him right. It's crazy things, silly things.
Only a few players had made the leap successfully from high school to the NBA, and they were big men. Kobe was 6'5", small by NBA standards. Laker general manager Jerry West had heard about the brash kid from Philadelphia and wanted to see for himself. He invited Kobe to work out with the Lakers a few weeks before the draft.
We put him against Michael Cooper, who was one of the really great defensive players we had in the NBA. We played him against Larry Drew, and it was a joke to watch him march over these people. And the kid was 17 years old at that point in time.
He told me, he said this was the greatest workout that he'd ever seen in his history of working out players before the NBA draft, and that Kobe had the chance to be one of the greatest players to ever play the game.
I thought it was an absolute easy decision to try to do anything we could to get him.
The Charlotte Hornets select Kobe Bryant from Lower Merion High School.
The Charlotte Hornets picked Kobe in the first round, 13th overall. Jerry West then astonished many observers by offering his starting center, Vlade Divac, in trade.
There were some upset people when we made that trade. They might deny that, but there were some upset people because we traded a starting center for him and a very good player in Vlade Divac. But I've always felt that the things that set teams apart is risk-taking.
Trading Vlade seemed a lot less risky only days later when the Lakers signed free agent Shaquille O'Neal to replace him. The dynamic duo was in place. In the summer of 1996, Kobe, along with parents Joe and Pam, moved to LA to begin living out his dream.
Kobe was playing in Los Angeles Laker uniform, and it was just amazing that 10 years ago when this kid was 8 or 9 years old, that now he's playing in the NBA against me, and I played against his dad.
The fans were anxious to see him play, and Kobe lost no time in showing the fans he could play. In the rookie All-Star game, he led all scoring with 31 points. Then he ran away with the slam dunk contest. But despite these heroics, Laker coach Del Harris wanted to break Kobe in slowly.
He viewed me as being a young kid, which I was, and he wanted the other players to respect me. He wanted me to work for my opportunity. And I worked so hard, and I was already working harder than everybody else, but he felt like he had to be 10 times harder on me than he was on Eddie Jones or Nick Van Exel or whatever, and that wasn't fair.
When you draft a high school kid, everyone wants him to play, but we had a very good team then. We had a particularly deep backcourt. There just wasn't a lot of minutes for Kobe to play. I thought Dell did a nice job with him, but Dell was in an awkward position because people wanted him to play.
Bryant
base, 17-foot jumper. Nice shot. That was some play by Kobe.
Kobe had spent the better part of his life as an outsider. First as an American in Italy, then as an Italian in an American city. Now his age set him apart from his teammates.
When Kobe came in, he was 17 years old. So here you have somebody that's making the jump from high school to the NBA. Not only that, but he's surrounded by grown men from 21 up to, almost 40 years old. After a game, if a guy wants to get together and go out, have a drink or, or something like that, Kobe can't participate.
I don't want to go in the bar for. I don't drink. I'm underage anyway. I don't go down there for. Guys go to strip clubs. What do I go to strip club for? For what? I'm here to play basketball, man. I ain't here to do that type of stuff.
But there was more than just an age gap separating Kobe from his teammates. The Lakers had a problem with his tendency to shoot the ball almost every time he touched it.
There were times when I just would shake my head. This kid needs to calm his game down. He needs to learn how to use everybody else. And once he does that, the sky's the limit.
By the time the 1997 playoffs arrived, Laker coach Del Harris was frustrated with his 18-year-old star. Yet in overtime against the Jazz, with the season on the line, he let Kobe have the ball.
Kobe to the right corner, jump on over Hardy. That's way short.
As players, I think we all questioned, not because it was Kobe, but because it was a young rookie. Even though he had all the ability in the world, you're playing on the team with Shaquille O'Neal, you're playing on the team with Eddie Jones, you're playing on the team with Nick Van Exel.
Bryant for the drive.
Kobe threw up 3 air balls down the stretch. Utah won by 4.
Another air ball.
That was a tough position, I think, for Dell to put Kobe in.
By the next season, some in the media were calling Kobe the next Michael Jordan.
Kobe Bryant is not Michael Jordan. He will never be Michael Jordan. He does some things that look like Michael. He's a completely different player than Michael Jordan.
But Kobe had no interest in being the next Jordan. He wanted to make the fans forget number 23. His first opportunity came at the 1998 All-Star Game.
Kobe strikes it home. Comes Bryant head of the field. Checks in. Jordan baseline.
You're not shying away at all from Michael. You're going after him, aren't you, Kobe?
I'm just having fun. I'm having a good time, man. Michael's a great player, one of the best players of all time. And, what better way to learn the game than going at it?
Kobe went at him, but that night, Michael was the best. 4 months later, the Lakers were hot going into the 1998 playoffs.
And now the steal by Kobe. Foot race with Darren Strong and Bryant.
But then the Jazz beat them in 4 straight.
96-92, and the sweep is complete.
Many said the Lakers' failures stemmed from disharmony between stars Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. More blamed Kobe than Shaq.
Everybody knows Shaq's the man. But why it couldn't be 2 great players playing together, I don't understand. There's no need for that. There's no need for guys bickering. You know what I mean? I even told Kobe that. You know what I mean? There's no need for that. You guys need to go out and play and win.
As the new season approached, one thing was clear. If the Lakers were ever going to rise to their potential, something or someone was going to have to give or go. At the tender age of 20, Kobe Bryant was living the modern American dream. He had a $71 million contract with the NBA's marquee team in the nation's most glamorous city. He was wildly popular with the fans, especially the young ones. Kobe's talent and star quality were obvious, but to his coaching staff and teammates, he was a headstrong loner whose showboating style hurt the team and cost them key victories.
That's the part that, probably a lot of us question and a lot of people on the outside of our organization question is, what exactly are your motives in thinking that way? Is it just because you feel like you're that good, or are there for some other personal reasons that do not involve what's best for this basketball team?
Kobe changed alone in a cubicle off the locker room and rarely spoke to his teammates off the court. He described the worm, Dennis Rodman, as the perfect teammate because the two had never spoken off the court.
There's no question that he's not really interested in the quote-unquote personal part or the, the co-worker part of being in the NBA. I think Kobe growing up in a different era and growing up, overseas in Italy, he has chosen to be a loner because if he looked around, there's not another Kobe Bryant.
The fact that we don't go out and hang out in clubs or go out to movies together, I think it's simply because he enjoys his privacy, and his privacy vanishes as soon as he steps out of his room.
In the spring of 2000, Kobe met Vanessa Lane on a music video soundstage.
I met her, and like, hey, what's your name? Like, Vanessa. That was it. She had like a little sparkle in her eye and everything, and that was it for me.
The relationship left him with even less time for his teammates.
Magic had a comment that I had to hang out with the team, and go to clubs and go to bars and that in order to build team camaraderie for us to win. And I respect Magic so much, but to me, that was just an off-the-wall statement. You know what I mean? Because, how is that going to make us win a championship? For me to go out to a club and hang with the guys and do this, that, and the other. There are other ways we can go about doing this.
Kobe kept his distance from the other Lakers, and although neither man would admit it, he was stuck in an ugly rivalry with the other star of the team, Shaquille O'Neal.
They're like, worrying about whose team it is, who has the most commercials, and all of these other things.
They have their egos, and they both want to be the top dog. They also want to be the main focus of the offense. They also want to be the main focus of all the media attention that's out there.
Many on the team blame their misfortunes on Kobe's refusal to meet Shaq halfway. Meanwhile, Shaq was calling Kobe the boy wonder in interviews. He didn't mean it as a compliment. Then, in 1999, tensions rose to the surface when Kobe and Shaq scuffled during a practice game.
The relationship between, both Kobe and Shaquille is one that would definitely remind you of two brothers. One being the older brother and one being the younger brother. And the big brother's always been able to tell the younger brother what to do. And years go by, and all of a sudden the younger brother's a little bigger, a little older, a little stronger.
For 3 seasons, the Laker management did everything they could to bring out the best in Kobe Bryant. They traded Eddie Jones and Nick Van Exel, giving Kobe more time on the floor. They replaced Del Harris with Kurt Rambis and gave Kobe the league maximum $71 million contract. Then, in the 1999 playoffs, the Lakers lost again, swept this time by the less talented San Antonio Spurs. Laker owner Jerry Buss, who had always avoided paying big money for coaching talent, bit the bullet and coughed up $30 million to bring Phil Jackson to L.A. The former Bulls coach had 6 championship rings and a talent for handling headstrong stars.
Phil's a terrific communicator. He's an excellent manager in terms of dealing with players, dealing with a team.
But before Phil had a chance to work out a truce, Kobe and Shaq made their own attempt at reconciliation. The occasion was Kobe's 21st birthday at an LA restaurant. Shaq surprised everyone by showing up. Phil Jackson's most immediate challenge was how to reel in his young guard.
I was like totally aghast at some points that he overran his teammates. He chased the ball on offense to get to the basketball. He took shots with guys hanging on with teammates wide open.
Phil worked to convince Kobe that the team's best route to winning was through Shaq. That it was all right to pass the ball because he'd get it back. This message was not new. Kobe had heard it countless times from Jerry West, Magic Johnson, Del Harris, and Kurt Rambis. But it took Phil Jackson to finally get through to him.
The reason why I had genuine respect for Phil because I could tell right off the bat that he was serious about the game and that he loved the game.
I think that Phil Jackson has been great for Kobe Bryant. He's stern, but yet he'll give him a little bit of rope. But when he makes mistakes that are costly and makes mistakes that are where he's trying to do too much, Phil will remind him, and he'll also take him out of the game.
The team just really came together. It was just a culmination of so many different things, and it was exciting. Phil coming in and all of the ingredients that he brought to institute tremendous team play.
Once they figured it out, everything fell into place. The Lakers finished off Portland. And then beat the Pacers in the finals. They were world champs at last.
Then once we finally win it, it tastes really, really sweeter after you've gone through some type of adversity.
Just wants to win. That's his attitude. He just wants to win the game. Win games, that's it.
Both Kobe and Shaq had come to realize that the whole of their combined talents was greater than the sum of the parts.
I think we just wanted room to operate. I think if you look in the past, like you look at Kareem, you look at Magic, he just passed the ball. Kareem shot it. Magic loved to do that. And this team, Shaq and I, we're both, quote-unquote killers. We like to go for your throat. And it's just a matter of us finding out how we can do that and do it together.
Kobe Bryant was on his way to achieving his ultimate goal, being the best ever. But now even he knew he couldn't do it alone. In April of 2001, just before the first round of the playoffs, Kobe Bryant married his 18-year-old sweetheart, Vanessa Lane, in a private ceremony.
It's hard because, miss her so much. Like when I travel and go on the road, and she misses me so much. But when I come home, I'm just so happy to see the person. And she knows that this is my job, and this is what I have to do, and she knows how dedicated I am to this game. So our relationship is great.
When the next season began, many of the old conflicts returned. Shaq complained that Kobe was hogging the ball again, and Shaq was throwing bricks from the free throw line.
Peter Vesey. He missed them both.
But when the playoffs arrived, the Lakers got down to business and played like a team. The best team in the league. Finals, and then blew away Allen Iverson and the Sixers to defend their title. Kobe came back from an ankle injury and stepped up, making the big shots. But Shaq got the MVP award.
Kobe, if it wasn't for Shaquille, could definitely have been in the MVP run. The finals, I think, proved that, he'll go down in history as one of the top 2, 3, 4, 5 players to ever play this game.
From the Los Angeles Lakers.
Then, in February 2002, the prodigal son returned home to Philadelphia for the NBA All-Star Game. They weren't glad to see him.
They booed Kobe Bryant.
Kobe scored 31 points, was named MVP, but it was a painful reminder that to the Philly fans, Kobe was no hometown hero. He had left too quickly and too often. In their eyes, he would always be a stranger, but maybe Kobe the loner liked it that way. It had taken Kobe Bryant 4 years to mature to the level where he could help the Lakers win the NBA championship. Some thought those 4 years might have been better spent in college, away from the NBA spotlight.
Kobe transgressed one of the things I think that's really a mistake. College is our farm system, basically, in the NBA. And I think that it's important that players go to that process, learn how to succeed in a peer group setting that's mostly their own age group.
But if Kobe's was the road less taken, there's no doubt it got him to where he had always wanted to go.
The saying that people say the guy couldn't chew bubblegum and walk at the same time. He was like that early on, man. He worked his butt off, man. To get to the point where he is now is incredible.
At the age of 23, he was already a 5-year NBA veteran. He'd helped lead his team to 2 world championships and was heading for a 3rd. Still, Kobe Bryant remained a work in progress.
No one among us expected that he would become the #1 American basketball player.
I think he will play in the league for another 10 years or so, and he will leave the NBA with 5 or 6 rings and a Jordan-like legacy. He's going to be one of the best players to ever play this game.
He has really scaled things back and has learned to use his teammates better. There's a tremendous room for improvement in him. He's going to be better than what he is today, and that's pretty scary.
He was a team player now, but Kobe Bryant continued to go his own way.
I constantly tell people, man, if you have a dream and you want to achieve something, don't let anybody tell you you can't achieve that. Because you can be whatever you want to be. You can strive for whatever you want to strive for. Don't let anybody tear you down.